Former Prime Minister Boris Johnson has asked when Europeans are going to stop being scandalized about Donald Trump and start helping him to end this war. Boris Johnson has insisted Donald Trump's false claims about Ukraine's war were intended to shock Europeans into action, following clashes over a peace deal. Volodymyr Zelensky accused the US president of being trapped in a Russian disinformation bubble after the billionaire suggested Ukraine was to blame for Moscow's invasion of the country. The Ukrainian president also said he would not sell his nation following talks between Russia and the US to broker a peace deal without Ukraine. Former Prime Minister Mr. Johnson, an ardent supporter of Keir, called on Europe to get serious about supporting the war-torn country amid two crisis meetings this week in Paris. He was responding to Mr. Trump's claims that Ukraine started the war and that its president Mr. Zelensky's approval rating stands at 4%, so the country should hold an election. Mr. Johnson said, "When are we Europeans going to stop being scandalized about Donald Trump and start helping him to end this war? Of course Ukraine didn't start the war. You might as well say that America attacked Japan at Pearl Harbor. Of course a country undergoing a violent invasion should not be staging elections. There was no general election in the UK from 1935 to 1945. Of course Zelensky's ratings are not 4%. They are actually. As for what action Europe should be taking, Mr. Johnson pointed to billions of pounds of frozen Russian assets that could and should be used to pay Ukraine and compensate the US for its support. Mr. Johnson said, Trump's statements are not intended to be historically accurate but to shock Europeans into action. In particular, the US can see $300 billion of frozen Russian assets, mainly in Belgium. That is cash that could and should be used to pay Ukraine and compensate the US for its support. Why is Europe preventing the unfreezing of Putin's cash? The US believes Belgium, France and other countries are blocking its